So if someone were to ask me, have you ever heard of Tigers Trust? I would say, yeah, absolutely. But then if they were to say to me, do you know what Tigers Trust do? There'll be a lot of mumbling and muttering and kind of thing. And I'll be like, I think they do summer schools for football to help frazzled parents during the school holidays. But I'm really not quite sure. And I don't think I'm alone with this. Thankfully, I've got Richard and Kayleigh, who's joined me today from Tigers Trust on another edition of our North of Ordinary podcast to put me right, to tell me exactly what Tigers Trust does and the work that you do in the community. So, guys, I'm never going to be... it's never going to be my specialist subject on Mastermind, Tigers Trust. I'll leave that to you, to the experts. But if you can tell me 4 or 5 main areas what the Tigers Trust does, so that if anybody asks me in the future, I can happily and quite with confidence say, yeah, I know what they do. So come on, who wants to start first? Give me the knowledge.
Do you want me to?
Go on, fire away, Kayleigh.
Yeah, so the area of work that I look after is the engagement side of the organisation, and that's anything from our youth work provision. We run a programme that supports young people at early intervention risk of child criminal exploitation, mental health, employability, our walking football programme, disability, girls. That's kind of my side of.
And what ages are we talking? What?
Anywhere from somebody being able to kind of kick a football or engage with us from an education point to our walking footballers that are. We had a fixture this morning against them, so some of them are in the 70s, 80s. So yeah, it's kind of the full range, really.
Still very competitive, I bet.
Yeah, definitely. We did beat them this morning, though. Just putting that in there.
So, how long has Tigers Trust been going? Kind of thing. How
Yeah.
When was it
so
established?
we formed officially in 1990. So we launched in 1990. A professional footballer from the club who'd recently left. He started the organisation. That was John Davies. So he was a goalkeeper. So yeah, we formed in 1990 as Hull City Football in the Community at the time. It was a couple of very small offices over at Boothry Park, and we've grown enormously over the years to kind of where we are now. We've got our own facility, the Tigers Trust Arena, and we've got a team of 40 staff full time. We've also got a large number of volunteers and kind of casual staff as well to deliver the work that we do. So yeah, we've grown enormously over the years, and I'm sure we will continue to grow. We are ambitious, and we want to keep kind of progressing as an organisation and creating more opportunities for local people.
So did you celebrate anything for your, was it 35th?
Yeah, so
35th anniversary?
Yeah. So it was 35th anniversary in this year. We've not done a huge celebration for us as an organisation. The reason for that is it actually fell during the playing season of the club's 120th kind of anniversary. So yeah, the club were kind of formed in 1904. They did their celebration over that playing season. So that fell into our kind of 35th, but I'm sure there will be kind of big celebrations as we continue to move forward. But yeah, it's an organisation that Kayleigh and myself have both worked for a long time, and it's an organisation that we're incredibly proud to represent.
Excellent. And it's separate to Hull City, isn't it? Because you're a charity, aren't you? But how closely linked are you? And do you get funding from like the PFA or the EFL or anything like that? Or?
Yeah. Do you want to start on that, Kayleigh, and then I'll continue?
Yeah. So obviously, as you've mentioned, we are a charity, so we are separate from the football club, but we are the club's affiliated charity. We do a lot of joint working. So in the lead up to Christmas, we've done some joint initiatives such as our Christmas giving tree. We also did the food bank meal as well, so some of our staff supported the club and there was players there, some of the families that we engage with, so that was really nice kind of to give back to the community. But in terms of like monetary, so as we are a charity, the same as any other charity, we have to write funding bids. So we are really, really fortunate that we do get funding from the Premier League Foundation, EFL in the community. So they're two of the national funders. And then, it's kind of mine, Rich and Lorna's job to look for alternative funding to support the extra work that we do, really. So I kind of touched on some of the really targeted work that we do. So working with other partners in the city to try and give positive opportunities to young people. We've also got the education side of the organisation, which probably Rich will talk on a little bit more. But they're kind of our main funding stream. So it's just about us evidencing our work and the impact that we have in our local community, which, not to blow our own trumpet, but is exceptional. So we're able to tap into those different funding streams.
Excellent. Do you do the bid writing yourselves? That must take up a lot of time and effort, kind of thing, because the writing itself for those, it's like kind of thing. You're trolling through, and then you're waiting to hear, kind of thing. And so do you do it between yourselves?
Yeah, we do.
People that come in and do it.
It's kind of a bit of both, depending on kind of who that funding partner is and what they're looking for. But I've said kind of the experience that Kayleigh and I have. We've both been at the organisation kind of coming up to 17 years, so a long time, and we've got that kind of knowledge of not just our organisation but our local community and the impact that we can make. So we do a lot of the kind of bid writing ourselves, but from time to time we will work with other bid writers to support us as well. But you're totally right. It does take an awful lot of time to kind of do that. But our track record so far is strong in terms of not just delivery, but also in terms of kind of getting successful applications. So, as an organisation, last year we turned over 1.67 million. And the output of that, for every pound put into the organisation, that equates to £21.33 of difference to the local community. So if you think 1.7 million times 21.33, the difference that we make to Hull and the surrounding area is enormous. So, the work that we do, I think the word Kayleigh used was incredible. It genuinely is.
That's amazing. So how many sort of like people in a year would you interact with? Would you,
it's
have through the doors?
So in terms of impact on our projects, it's over 30,000 people a year. So if you think, to put that into context, the MKM Stadium holds roughly 25,500 people. We see a year more than a full stadium of football fans. But then we take through our doors at the Tigers Trust Arena over 45,000 people a year. So it's enormous, and it's increasing year on year, and I'm sure it will continue to increase because more people need our support than ever before, which, we love being able to support people, but at the same time it is very challenging because the more people that need our support, the more resource it takes for us as an organisation. Hence why we're looking to connect with local businesses and other partners for us to allow ourselves to continue making that difference and that impact with local people.
So you must see the same people year on year. And if it's been going 30 years, you're probably seeing their kids now, aren't you?
Yeah. Exactly that. And I mean, I had a conversation yesterday with a local partner, and they were saying that we used to coach his daughter, we're now coaching his grandson. So his grandson comes to our programmes, but he actually did some work with us himself back in the day when we were over at Boothry Park. So it's kind of generation after generation that we're supporting as an organisation.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you touched on education earlier. So you've got an education arm?
We've got a big education arm now. So it is one of our kind of bigger departments. But the thing that is kind of that we're really, really proud of is we now have a full education pathway. So what I mean by that is we offer primary school support, which we've done for a long time. So we engage over 40 partner primary schools.
And what would that involve?
So when I say engage, that's not where we just kind of dip in and out and do a couple of hours coaching or PE support. We actually send staff members and deploy them to schools in Hull and East Riding, where they do a minimum of a full day once a week for the full academic year. So that's a lot of contact, and obviously we do that in over 40 schools.
That's a lot.
So
That's a big commitment.
It is, yeah. And just on our primary schools alone, we've had over the past year over 10,000 people involved in that. So it's kind of really high numbers. But then beyond our primary school programme, we've also got secondary school programmes. So a lot of the people that we maybe saw years ago in primary school, we now support in secondary schools. That then links into Kayleigh's area of work as well, because a lot of the people that attend some of our inclusion and our community kind of sessions are people that engage through primary schools or secondary schools. Beyond secondary schools, we also run our own kind of BTEC college programme. So we've got, we do level 2, level 3 and level 3 extended diplomas in sports coaching. And then even beyond that, we run a university degree programme as well. So we have that kind of full education pathway, and some of the outcomes from that are incredible. We've got, one person now who's a full-time staff member in our secondary schools who came through our degree programme. So last year he was a student with us. He's now a full-time staff member, continuing that journey to make that kind of difference to people in schools.
How does the degree thing work then?
So it's funded, and we're in partnership with the University of South Wales, which I know you'll
A bit far away.
I thought you might say
It's not
that.
just on a bus
So,
route,
yeah,
is
that's so they provide the kind of the platform for digital learning, if you like, and then we staff it and deliver it ourselves. So we have qualified teachers that work for us as at the trust, and they deliver that programme across both BTEC and also across the degree programme.
So people come to you, use you as a base?
Yeah, that's right.
Or is it all online?
Yeah. No. So they'll have kind of face-to-face support and lectures. So we deliver it face-to-face. We deliver it kind of between the MKM Stadium, because we've got an education suite that we share with the Hull City Academy at the stadium, but we also deliver a lot of it from the Tigers Trust Arena as well. So like your practical elements, because we are wanting to give people industry experience as well as just kind of the formal education, because then they're best placed to go on and achieve success, whatever that might look like. But the practical element of it will take place from the Tigers Trust Arena. But a really important part of that work for us is that we give them the opportunity to get out and get kind of work experience. So they won't just be studying in a classroom, or they won't just be practicing coaching on a pitch. They'll be out in the community alongside our staff in education and in Kayleigh's area of work, supporting our coaches and getting that real life industry experience, which is so valuable to them. And obviously we're seeing the success of that now, because we're now getting our students that are completing that kind of study programme and are now going into full-time and part-time jobs, whether that's with ourselves or whether that's with any of our local partners or anyone else in the area. So it's a really successful programme, and one that we're incredibly proud of.
So you should be, definitely. So how did you two get involved in the first place?
Go on, Kayleigh.
So my journey with the trust started as being a participant on what was formerly known as our soccer schools, and then I went back as a 15-year-old doing my work experience for 2 weeks, but I didn't have a placement. So it was kind of, I know Rich has already mentioned John, picking up the phone to John and saying I ain't got a placement.
Help.
Help. And he was like, yeah, of course you can. So I did my 2 weeks work experience. Didn't want to go back to school because I loved it that much. Continued to volunteer on a Saturday morning, and then got a job elsewhere. So obviously kind of at that age, money talks.
Yeah.
Then my former behaviour teacher at Marvel got in touch and said, Kayleigh, there's a kind of programme that I think it'd be really good for you, which is the Premier League Kicks programme. So it started in Hull in September 2010, and I got involved volunteering in January 2011, and absolutely loved it. The organisation put me through qualifications.
I was going to say, do they have to?
Yeah, so we have minimum operating standards as part of our funding from our national funders. So put through the qualifications, and it was at that point I probably realised, right, football coaching isn't for me. So it's kind of that, we are more than that the brand of football, more of like youth work, wanting to help people. That's kind of where my journey started. 2016, I was successful with a full-time role, delivery officer out in all the communities within the city, and then kind of progressed into the role that I'm in now as head of community engagement and safeguarding. But juggling, I think at one point I had 4 different jobs, youth work roles, like at different organisations within the city. As I kind of took on more responsibility at the organisation, something had to give. So
Yes.
I ended up full time. So Rich is stuck with me now full time. So
And the safeguarding arm of
yeah.
how does that work, kind of thing? Are people sort of like highlighted to you, kind of thing, or
it just depends. It can be anything from like our football centres. If we've got a concern about a child, typically what staff will do is ring myself for advice. So we've got a deputy designated safeguarding officer as well. Recently, Paulie was successful in that role, or kind of some more of the target stuff that we do with the mentoring, obviously supporting some of the most at-risk young people within the city, whether that's child criminal exploitation or those that are at risk of antisocial behaviour. We also sit on the diversion panel, which is made up of a variety of different partners such as Humberside Police, Hull Youth Justice, other voluntary organisations. They obviously come with a lot of challenges, and it's about us having the robust safeguarding procedures and policies in place, but also staff having the correct training so they can recognise signs. Everybody who sits with me within the organisation has all undergone trauma-informed training, so it's rather than just looking at a child or a young person's behaviour, it's trying to see past that. There's obviously a reason why a young person is displaying quite challenging behaviour, and can we unpick some of that? But being that supportive role model, that consistent member of staff that's always there, listening ear, that they're seeing week on week, and building a relationship and hopefully kind of making a change in their life. So it is complex and it is challenging, and kind of with the numbers that we see throughout the organisation, it is a challenge, but it is very rewarding, especially as Richard said, we've had a lot of members of staff, particularly on engagement, where they've come through being a KICS participant, growing up in some of those estates where they are facing challenges and ways to make money are not the right ways to make money. But I think we're at about 29% now of former participants are now members of staff. So it's about giving them that kind of the buy-in, giving them that time, and then them giving back to the local community as well.
That's fabulous. It really is. Come on then, tell us how you got involved.
So I first got involved with the trust, I would almost say by chance. So I went to university at Hull, and for whatever reason decided that wasn't the route for me. I was fairly academic in school. I'd done okay, and while I was at university, a lad who I met at university and became a really close friend, his brother was out in America coaching football, and he made me aware of the opportunity, and he knew I wasn't particularly enjoying university. I wasn't doing anything sports related at this time, I might add. I'd played sport all my life, and particularly football, but I was doing business and marketing at university, and didn't particularly enjoy it. So I went out to America, and I had a couple of years out in the States coaching football, or soccer as they call it. And I came back to the UK to renew my visa because I'd been offered a year's extension out in Chicago. Came back to the UK, and my mum was working for the football club at the time, for Hull City. She was in kind of their sales team at the club, and put me in touch with somebody called Dan Nicholson, who still works for the Hull City Academy now. And I remember kind of badgering him constantly, like, try and be keen. And I'm sure he was sick of hearing from me.
He's like, oh God, is that
kind of a part-time role came up, which I applied for. And but very quickly after that was when Hull City got into the Premier League for the first time. And a full-time job came up through Premier League funding, which we were able to access for the first time. And that was nearly 17 years ago. So over the years of kind of very similar to Kayleigh, kind of progressed, managed our football provision, managed our schools programme. More recently, I was head of programmes, which was overseeing our kind of all of our operational delivery, if you like, all of the activity that we deliver. And then we had a bit of a restructure just over a year ago, and we created kind of some new senior leadership positions. Obviously, Kayleigh got one of those roles. I got the other one, and my current role right now is head of business. So that's looking to kind of connect with business partners and people in the corporate world, and which can obviously make us have more impact.
So that university degree could have come in handy at this point.
It could have done.
couldn't
So I
it?
do still remember some of that stuff, yeah. And I also at the minute kind of oversee education on an interim basis as well. So when I say education, that's the pathway that I spoke about before, right through from primary school to degree. So yeah, we've got a senior leadership team at the minute of 3. Myself and Kayleigh are 2 of those. Then we've got a director of community, Lorna. But yeah, one of the things that we are proudest of is not just that pathway that we provide for our participants, but also that pathway that we provide for our staff to continue to grow and develop and progress through the organisation. Mm-hmm. We recruit a lot of talent. The last thing we want to do is lose that talent. We want to retain them within the organisation, and through those kind of progressions that Kayleigh and I have both kind of been on, we've got that. And if you look at a lot of our kind of managers now as well, they're very similar. They've followed a very similar pathway to myself and Kayleigh, whether it's through from volunteering, I think of people like Abdu, or whether it's people that started off on an apprenticeship with us that are now in kind of management positions with us, which is brilliant.
Amazing. So if people wanted to get involved, say, first of all, if we do like kids and then adults and then schools and then businesses, how do kids get involved with you first off? Is it through the schools? Is it through the community youth work?
I think there's a multitude of ways for kids to get involved. It's very much dependent. I mean, we've got a huge network in schools, like I said, but then Kayleigh's programme is enormous as well. And, with Kayleigh's programme, with all of our community kind of work that we deliver, it's all funded, it's all free of charge. So
nobody pays? Nobody has to pay?
No.
Not in Kayleigh's area, no.
No, so that's where obviously the sat behind a laptop writing the funding bids comes in. But looking at that, we have to look at local demographic data, the insight from Hull Youth Justice, Humberside Police, antisocial behaviour rates, crime rates in young people obviously entering the criminal justice system. And then obviously them statistics along with the impacts that we have through the programme enables us to have access to additional funding, obviously if we're successful. But yeah, that's kind of how we look at the delivery of it. And then looking at that, we're obviously in the estates within the city, and it's free. So whether a young person wants to come once and just try it out, or whether they come in every single week and become that kind of one of the most consistent young people at the session. But that's then when we try to get them involved in some volunteering and get them to take a bit of ownership as well in the session. But yeah, it's all free for them to kind of come and attend.
And which estates are you in?
So we're delivering Orchard Park and Quadrant. So at the university, try to capture those areas. Sirius West, so the Gower Park, Boothry Estate, Marvel College, so Bilton Grange kind of Long Hill catchment. So we are citywide, and then in the future we are looking at branching out into the East Riding, into those little pockets of deprivation and high rates of criminal activity with young people.
Because I was just going to ask you, is it just for the HU postcode, or is it?
No, in particular, my work is kind of the HU postcoded areas. But yeah, looking longer term, we will be looking at, again, as Rich has already mentioned, being ambitious and wanting to grow. So we will be looking at kind of growing out into the East Riding. Hopefully, kind of one that coming up like the Bridlington area, but just being able to support as many young people as we possibly can, and having that role model in the local community that they can go to and speak about worries or challenges that they may have. I think it's really important that we are seen as more than just a football club, and that trusted adult that's got the right skills to be able to support an individual and the family as well.
And a familiar face as well that turns up each week, kind of thing.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's one of the things that kind of our partners and our stakeholders value the most. It's, we make every effort to have that consistent member of staff, whether it's through community engagement or whether it's through our schools. It's really important that we have that familiar face there every week, so that the people that we support know who it's going to be. They can trust them. They can build up that relationship. And that's something that I know our stakeholders really do value, because they tell us, and that's, from a school's point of view, it's a little bit different in the sense that schools, we do cover the East Riding. Yeah. So through our education programme, I mean, we're really unique as as a charity, because as a football club we cover such a vast area, there isn't kind of any real local competition. If you look at kind of some of the other areas of the country and the professional football clubs that have a charity like ourselves, there's a lot of clubs and competition on their doorstep.
Yeah.
We don't have that. Our challenge is the opposite, the fact that we cover such a vast area, and it's as an organisation, it's roughly 250 square miles, which is enormous. You know, it's the whole way down the East Coast. We go up as far as Bridlington and beyond. We were involved with a school up in Scarborough. We go out as far to the west as kind of Goole. And then, you know, we have started doing some work on the South Bank as well. You know, we've got one of our secondary schools at the minute is in Grimsby. We do a bit of work in Immingham. So yeah, the area that we cover is enormous, and kind of some of the pockets that Kayleigh mentioned, which need our support. If you look at like Bridlington, you know, that is a real kind of area for us where we have a lot of schools. So we've got a lot of primary schools involved out Bridlington way on. And yeah, there are some kind of areas in the East Riding that do have their challenges that need our support. And as Kayleigh said, you know, we will be looking to expand the level of services and the different programmes that we run right out into the East Riding.
Excellent. And then progressing on, how do adults get involved? You mentioned walking football earlier on. How do they get involved? Is it just literally a sign up and turn up kind of thing, or?
Yeah, so we run a variety of different sessions for adults throughout the week. So we run a ladies only walking football session. These sessions are self-funded as well, so it's a participant payment when they arrive. But the sign up just by coming along on the evening, fill out a consent form. On a Wednesday morning, we run a disability and inclusive walking football session. Monday mornings and a Thursday morning, we have our mixed walking football sessions. And then we have recently just started some disability 18 plus provision as well. So that's a Monday morning. But it's fantastic, and kind of, I know I spoke to you earlier, but it's much more than that. Just them coming and playing football. Yeah, for the health benefits, that's great. But it's more about that social isolation and trying to prevent that as well. And like this morning, I was having a kickabout with the walking footballers, but then I'm all having a coffee after. Last week, I took the women's walking footballers to the official supporters club quiz. So it's much more than kind of that, let's all just play football. It's bringing people together and building a social network for them as well. Because I know a lot of the gents that come have had a bit of a hard time. Unfortunately, one of them had lost his partner, but he turned around and said if it weren't for like the Tigers Trust, he don't know what he would have done. And then building them friendships within them groups, it's so important.
I bet the mixed football is quite competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, they will tell you that they're not running, but they definitely are running.
I keep up with most of them this morning.
Is there an age limit for the walking football? Age bracket?
It used to be 55 plus, but I think looking at our core values, inclusive is one of them. And as an organisation, we do live and breathe that. So we've opened it up to be inclusive. If somebody's turning up in the 30s and they're obviously continually running, that's probably a conversation of this maybe isn't for you. But yeah, we try to be as inclusive as possible. And some of the gents and the ladies that do attend now are younger, but it's played kind of in the right manner. Yeah. So yeah.
And there must be a fitness element to it, a nutrition element, you know, eating healthy, you know, being healthy. Do you do that side kind of thing as well, you know, to try and instill in them?
Yeah, it's about being a positive role model, and kind of advising what those kind of lifestyle choices should be. But yeah, it's mainly through being positive role models. We don't have a specific kind of nutrition program or anything like that, but at the same time, you know, we are able to advise people that we support, because I'd like to think that the staff that we've got that are positive role models, and they have that knowledge and understanding of that subject area to do that. Like when we're talking about our adult work as well, another area of work that we have with adults is around kind of memory loss. So we do like a heritage program. So I spoke about the football club celebrating their 120th birthday. So last year we delivered a program called Forever Tigers, which was all about kind of using the badge and the football club as a way to kind of bring back memories from yesteryear. So the Tigers Trust Arena, where we are based, became a bit of a kind of heritage hub, if you like. So we have a lot of kind of vintage shirts, match day programmes.
The Peppies one with the,
We've got
the
it.
tiger.
We've got it. Love it or hate it, we've got it. I personally love it, but I know a lot of people hate it. So yeah, we've got kind of a lot of those on display at the arena. We've got kind of a retro reading area, so it's all the old match day programmes that are catalogued right back as far as kind of the 60s. You don't need to kind of book a slot or anything like that. People can just turn up and enjoy kind of what we've got on offer.
Just sparking memories.
Yeah.
I was there at that game.
And
God, I remember being there with my
exactly.
dad or whatever.
And you know, part of that work did allow us as well to expand and go into local care homes. So yeah, we're in a lot of kind of residential homes doing some of that work. And yeah, I'll never forget kind of the first ever care home we went into. I won't say which one it was, but
I'll ask you later.
all right, off camera. I walked to the door and it was the first time we'd done any work in care homes. So I was kind of nervous anyway to see how it would go, because it was a very different kind of audience to working with kind of younger people. And yeah, I was met at the door by one of the residents, a lady who kind of looked me up and down really obviously, kind of no filter, tutted under her breath really loud. And I kind of said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm here." She said, "I know where you're from. I hate Hull City. I hate football." Like,
And you're like,
right,
I'll
okay,
go now then.
this'll be fun. And I had with me a load of old programmes, and the first one we spoke about was 1966. I thought that's a really easy conversation starter. So yeah, said, "Can anyone tell us about 1966?" She had no idea England won the World Cup that year, but what she did know was that was the year she met her husband. She met him on Hessel Road. He ran a sweet shop and they'd go out dancing together in town and this, that and the other. She told me that she used to go and buy a newspaper from there just so that it was an excuse to go and see him and try and kind of flirt with him. And yeah, I couldn't shut this lady up, bless her. And afterwards the staff said to us, "We normally can't get a word out of her.
But that's a
She'll just sit in the corner with her head down, not engage in anything. And she's just been totally engaged with everything you've done. Nothing football related whatsoever, but it was just the fact that it was a year that opened up all these memories. And one of the things that we are looking to do next year that we've just managed to secure a little bit of funding for is we're now going to deliver a programme called Sporting Memories from the Tigers Trust Arena, where again, people can come in and can take part in this programme. And it's using sport in general as a vehicle to open up those conversations and, you know, provide that social support for people that a lot of them need as well.
I love that. What time's she coming round on Christmas Day? So how do businesses get involved with you then?
Yeah, so kind of we've had a number of partners over the years, kind of locally and nationally, that have kind of supported our work, but we now actually have a business package, if you like. So we launched it in September this year because while we're incredibly grateful for the kind of funders that we have that fund our work, we need to start kind of operating more like a charity. Yeah. And I'll say this to everybody, like, you know, we're really privileged and proud to represent Hull City and the club badge. And we're really grateful for this. And it opens so many doors for us. But at the same time, it's also a challenge because people don't fully understand that we are the charity, not the football club. And with that has so many challenges like so many charities do have. But again, it went right back to the first thing you said, we deliver football. Well, yeah, we do, but that's 10% of probably the work that we deliver. So yeah, how do businesses get involved? We've got a number of packages that businesses can kind of sign up to. It's kind of a tiered approach, so they can sign up at either bronze, silver or gold level. And that's either paying for a partnership or it's offering some of their services in kind. If they've got a really kind of specialist area of expertise that can help our business, then that's something that we would obviously look to do. But we very much see it as a partnership. It's not a transaction. It's not thank you very much, you can give us your money and we will use it for the benefit of the local community. We can give businesses things back in return. So whether that's team training events to bring the team together, because I know so many businesses don't have the time to do that. And especially now with remote working, a lot of people don't see the colleagues as much as they maybe used to. So we can offer team training as part of the package. We can offer kind of discounts on some of our services for employees, whether it's birthday parties, whether it's football courses, whether it's match tickets to games, if businesses want that as incentives for staff or for their partners. We're really, really lucky that the club, although they don't kind of give us anything financially, they do give us a number of things in kind. And one of the things that they do give us, which is really beneficial for us and for other businesses, is they give us hospitality space. So they give us space in kind of the Circle restaurant on a match day so we can entertain some of our businesses and clients and give them places to come and join us. So we do see it very much as kind of a two-way relationship. And although we do have kind of tiered packages, like I've said, every business that we work with, the first thing we want to know is what area of work are you most interested in as a business? You know, what are your values? How can we help you? And it is a very, very bespoke offer. Some businesses will say, all that stuff is amazing and we'd like more of that but less of that. That is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So in terms of how do they get in touch, it would be get in touch with myself either through the website, tigerstrust.co.uk, or they can email me, which is richard.dexter@tigerstrust.co.uk, or they can pick up the phone and speak to the office and colleagues would gladly pass them on to me. But yeah, I'd just welcome people to be in touch and just have a catch up and a coffee and a discussion around what businesses are wanting to achieve and how we can help them to do that.
Brilliant. So you've celebrated 30 years. What do the next 30 have in store for you? What's your aim?
For me, it's about continual growth, but it's not just about continual growth. We want to do it where we are not just growing in terms of numbers, but we're growing in terms of quality and impact as well. That's vital for us, and it's making sure that we are able to do it at a rate which is achievable. But we are very much growing as an organisation. All of our programmes are growing in terms of numbers, and we are also achieving more impact than we've ever had before. So it's continual growth, but I think for me, it's also kind of those standards and that quality of service that we can offer, which again, that is kind of continuing to grow, and I'm incredibly confident that we will continue to achieve all of that as an organisation. But, you know, we are incredibly ambitious. We are recognised locally, which is great. So last year at the Hull and East Yorkshire Business Awards, it was the very first time they've announced the Charity of the Year. We won that kind of accolade, which was amazing and good recognition for kind of what we do. I think the next step for us as well is to get some of that kind of recognition on a national level, not just locally. We want to be seen as kind of the go-to charity to support anything, not just supporting football or sport, whether it's people looking for employment pathways, whether it's youth support, whether it's community and inclusion. You know, we really do have a space for everybody, and we are able to kind of support people to become the best version of themselves. So yeah, that for me is kind of what the next 30 years should look like and will look like.
Excellent. Well, I wish you all the very best with that. 30 years. Yeah.
I think just touching on Rich's point there as well about national recognition. So we've been nominated twice for the National Antisocial Behaviour Awards, obviously for our impact in helping to reduce antisocial behaviour, not the other way. So we've been shortlisted, and there'll be a team of us heading to Nottingham, I believe it is, in February. So fingers crossed that will be one of the first of our national awards after picking up a nice local one. So yeah, fingers crossed that we managed to get that one.
I hope you do. I really do. And we need to shout about that when you do, definitely, because I'm sure you will. Richard, Kayleigh, thank you so much for your time today. Really do appreciate it. And all the very best for the work that you're doing, and just keep on doing what you do, because I think it's fabulous. And I've learnt so much. You aren't just soccer schools in the summer holidays to help the parents out. Like you say, that's just a fraction of what you cover. And what you cover is absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity to allow us to come and tell a bit of the Tigers Trust story.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. Really do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to your podcast and the next series of North of Ordinary, wherever you get your podcasts from. So see you again soon.